Buckle up, because what we're witnessing today could change the balance of power in Europe. Vladimir Putin has just lobbed a direct threat at Britain, brazenly sending a Russian warship into the English Channel, armed to the teeth and ready for confrontation. This astonishing display comes mere hours after Sir Keir Starmer, Britain's Labour leader, pledged to stand firm against Russia's war of aggression. Coincidence? Highly unlikely. The Russian frigate, equipped with cutting-edge hypersonic missiles, manoeuvred dangerously close to British waters in an unmistakable act of provocation that has left defence analysts and politicians alike sounding alarms. Now, let's dive into the latest bombshell in the Russia-UK power struggle. With tensions between Britain and Russia already at a breaking point, Putin's brazen naval display in such a sensitive area comes as a clear warning. This crisis is unfolding against a highly charged backdrop, just as Starmer stood beside French President Emmanuel Macron in a show of European unity. So what message is Putin really sending here, and how close are we to witnessing a major diplomatic fallout? Before we get into that, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, because there's a lot more to uncover in this political thriller. As dawn broke over the English Channel, unsuspecting Britons were in for a shock. Cutting through the waters near one of the world's busiest shipping lanes was none other than the Admiral Golovko, Russia's most advanced frigate, fresh from the icy waters of the Arctic. Just days after Keir Starmer's powerful statement against Russian aggression, this warship, part of the feared Project 22350 series, demonstrated its lethal capabilities in a chilling display that British officials quickly labelled a direct provocation. The timing couldn't have been more perfect, or more insidious. The Admiral Golovko's entry into the Channel occurred just hours after Starmer and Macron stood united beneath the Arc de Triomphe in a solemn remembrance of past wars and a call for European solidarity. For Starmer, the first UK leader to attend Armistice Day in France since Winston Churchill, it was a historic moment intended to send a message to Putin. Europe will not bow to intimidation. But Putin clearly had plans of his own, sending his frigate with missiles that can allegedly evade any known defence system, demonstrating a not-so-subtle reminder of Russia's firepower. On board the Admiral Golovko was an arsenal capable of inflicting catastrophic damage. Chief among these was the Zircon hypersonic missile, able to travel 900 kilometers at blistering speeds, making interception almost impossible. In addition to its terrifying missile system, the frigate boasted a 130mm A-192 artillery gun, air defence missiles, and a sophisticated anti-submarine system. This warship wasn't simply passing through, it was showing the West what they could be up against if they dared interfere further. As the Russian Defense Ministry's Zvezda channel proudly aired the drills, it became clear that this wasn't a mere navigational exercise. The Russian frigate's crew conducted complex maneuvers involving anti-submarine and anti-aircraft exercises utilizing Ka-27 helicopters. And as if the missiles and artillery weren't enough, there were anti-terrorist drills staged with simulated attacks from aerial and marine drones, an unmistakable message that any attempt to approach would be met with brutal force. British and French naval forces scrambled to respond, closely monitoring the frigate's activities. But as the warship moved into the narrowest stretch of the Channel, tensions skyrocketed. Analysts were quick to point out that such close proximity to European shores is highly unusual for a Russian warship, and incredibly provocative. This wasn't about training or navigation. This was a power play, a dare, a demonstration that Putin remains unbothered by Western sanctions or threats. This was Russia, flexing its might in Britain's own backyard. Political experts have been buzzing, questioning whether Starmer's strong anti-Russia stance had provoked this move from Putin, intentionally or otherwise. Sir Keir Starmer had, after all, vowed to thwart Russia's war of aggression just a day before. Could this be Putin's way of saying, prove it? If Starmer hoped to rally European support against Russia, Putin's frigate in the Channel was an answer, and a daring one. Reports suggest that British naval intelligence had been tracking the Admiral Golovko since it left its Arctic base in Severomorsk. Yet, even with advanced knowledge, officials were reportedly stunned by the frigate's decision to carry out military exercises right in front of their noses. The Russian state news agency TASS chillingly described the objective as demonstrating the Russian flag, in operationally important regions. With a smug confidence that only added fuel to the fire, TASS also remarked on the frigate's mission to maintain a strategic Russian presence in crucial parts of the world, subtly hinting that more such moves could follow. The appearance of the Admiral Golovko has fueled heated debate in Parliament, with some MPs calling for an immediate diplomatic response and others urging caution, worried that any misstep could push an already tense situation over the edge. Starmer, back in London, has doubled down on his stance against Russia. Speaking in a tone reminiscent of Churchill's wartime defiance, Starmer warned that Britain would not be cowed by Putin's show of force. However, critics within and outside of Westminster have pointed out that, without significant military support for Ukraine, these words ring hollow. Meanwhile, Britain's allies across Europe are watching this situation closely, as tensions across the continent are at their highest in years. With Russia's war in Ukraine raging on and military support from Europe wavering, Putin's strategic message seems to be clear. Russia will not back down, and Europe should think twice before escalating. Adding to the drama, Moscow has also deployed another fleet through the Barents, Norwegian and North Seas, alluding to further training missions that could potentially target other key European waterways. Military analysts believe that the Kremlin is testing Europe's response, gauging the West's willingness to confront Russian naval forces directly. With Britain's political sphere divided, Starmer is under pressure to turn his strong words into decisive action, something that, until now, has proven difficult. The British public is equally divided. Some are voicing pride in Starmer's stance, seeing his alliance with Macron as a promising sign of a united European front. Others, however, are apprehensive, worried that this might lead to further escalation with Moscow. A petition has already begun circulating, urging the government to prepare coastal defences and secure critical infrastructure, lest Russia's military presence in the Channel become more than just a display. In response to growing anxiety, the Ministry of Defence released a statement claiming that British naval forces are fully prepared to protect the UK's territorial waters. The statement, however, did little to calm nerves, as many Britons are wary of a direct confrontation. If history is any indication, the Kremlin's military manoeuvres are rarely without deeper motives. By sending the Admiral Golovko to the Channel, Putin seems intent on reminding Britain and its allies of their vulnerability. If tensions aren't dialed down, many fear this show of force could escalate into a more dangerous standoff. As of now, the Admiral Golovko has moved into the Atlantic, but its chilling shadow remains. Will Britain and Europe stand firm against Russia's increasingly bold displays of power, or will these shows of strength continue, inching the continent closer to a conflict no one wants but everyone fears?